Okay, in today's video we're going over modding. Now, I'm doing this video because, like I said in the past, it just pisses me off when I see people do stupid shit. And maybe if you're new to the game, this could help you on how you should go about things. So, first of all, I'm going to go over a few common rules that I do before I go into any characters and use them as examples. So, first of all, fairly fucking simple, for me at least, is do not complete a mod set if it does not benefit the character. Now, you're probably thinking, damn, where's this coming from? I've seen some stupid shit in my time. For example, I've seen a Morgan with attack set just because they had HP and defense on an attack set, so they just finished off this set to make it match. Now, obviously, if you know anything about Morgan, you know he has no percent damage, he has no attack, he has nothing attack related on his kit, and making him hold an attack set is completely fucking retarded. Now, what you should do in this situation is break the set. Now, I'm not saying have no set bonus, because that is also retarded as shit. What I'm saying is compromise. Compromise on the set. Make it a HP or a defense set, because obviously Morgan was a completely defense toon. There's nothing attack related on him. So what you would want to do is compromise the set to make it at least 3 HP sets or 3 defense sets to make it a defense or HP set, so at least they benefit more from that. And having a broken set than a complete set, that is completely fucking useless to them. Now, also a common rule is, it goes hand in hand with modding and weapons, but fucking use your head when you're making a weapon as well. If it's a defense character, you shouldn't have attack on the weapon. If it's an attack weapon, no, if it's an attack toon, you shouldn't have a defensive weapon on them. It's fairly simple. I don't think I should have to say this, but I've seen some dumb shit in my time. So, also with that being said, another common rule I have is how I would mod the set. So first of all, I have 2 things. So if it's a multi-attacker, for example, the most recent one, Alpha, Sandy, something like that, I would always have a crit damage set on them. Now you're probably wondering, why would I have a crit damage set on them? It's pretty simple. It's because whenever they crit, they're doing bonus damage, and considering they're going 2 or 3 times, that damage is probably going to work out a lot more than if it was just to be a normal attack set. Now, don't get me wrong, you can put an attack set on a multi-attacker, but I feel like you get more damage and bigger numbers from having a crit damage set. Now, obviously, it's completely up to you, and obviously modding and mods in general have a massive impact on what you can do, because if you break the set too much, it's going to be kind of crappy, but it's still a lot better than having a full set of something completely fucking useless. Also, I also let the character influence how I mod. So I would look on the rush, does it have any influence on how I should mod the character? Does it have any benefits from me modding a certain way or having a certain weapon on this character, and whatnot? So I'll go into a few examples now, just give you a brief example of what I mean. So first of all, we're going to be Lydia. Lydia is a very recent toon, a Whisper event toon. Pretty decent toon. So yeah, pretty decent toon. So first of all, going on a rush, deal 2 attacks of 350% damage to a single enemy, up to 2 enemies, blah blah blah. So just from that there, obviously my rule of thumb is she's an attacker. Deal 2 attacks of 350% damage. It says there in the rush she's an attacker, so that immediately rules out defense and HP. That immediately rules it out. So that leaves you with 2 mod set options. You can either go crit damage or an attack. Like I've said before, if they're a multi-attacker, I like to go with crit damage. But it's completely up to you. Attack works just as well. It's just preference, in my opinion. Now, also, she does have a critical chance, 100. I don't know what you call it. Critical expert. That's it. On her weapon, meaning every single attack she does is a critical hit, meaning you do not need crit on her mod set. So yeah, fairly simple. You don't need it. Now I'm also going to go out on one here. You more than likely do not need crit ever in your modding, because more than likely you're going to have 1535 weapons, aka team player 4 weapons around your toons, meaning she's already getting a decent amount of crit just off that. So having more than that is kind of overkill. But it does make it a little bit more consistent, but it's not needed. So with that being said, we've identified that she's an attacker. So a critical damage set is going to be needed. So obviously we're going to have 3 attack sets, no, 3 attack mods or 3 crit mods, depending on what you want the set to be. So what would we put in the top left corner? Top left is fairly simple for me. It would be an attack set. Now, reason for that, obviously she's an attacker. Fairly simple. That should be number 1. Now, your top right is your defense versus. Now, or defense versus attack versus, it's one of the two. Now, I'm thinking, right, what's the meta at this current point in time? Now, at the moment, there's a lot of Taras going around, so maybe a yellow or a blue, because that's going to be what most people are going to be running. So you put attack versus yellow or attack versus blue. Maybe if you're struggling with Connors, you put attack versus green. It's completely up to you and whatever you think she's going to struggle to kill, or you're finding that you're encountering a lot of a certain tune, like a lot of greens, yellows, blues, whatever. That's how you mod it. So number 2. So then your middle slot. Your middle slot is very interesting. If you think she's dying a little bit too quickly, maybe you put a HP or defense mod there. Or maybe if you just want her to be a complete glass cannon and do what she does best and kill, you'd put another attack versus. So you get 2 coverages there, which is pretty nice. That's 3 mods gone already. Now, your bottom right corner, that's going to be your resistances. What should you resist against? Now, yet again, this is more of what do you encounter the most. What is affecting you the most in raids? Is taunt affecting you? Is Connor rushing, active skilling on your Lydia, taunting her? Is Mirabelle confusing her a lot? Are you hitting into Impair a lot? Whatever you're struggling with or she's getting mostly impacted by, that's how you should mod against that. Now, your bottom left, she's an attacker, and he's generally a fairly simple one for most. If you do decide to go with the critical damage set or the attack set, to really get the most out of your damage, you would want to put attack crit damage on the bottom left corner, because that makes tunes hit tremendously harder. So moving on from Lydia, Uncle Sam. Now, like I said before, do not use broken sets or make a set just to fit the purpose of completing a set. So, for example, Uncle Sam, what is he? So his specialist skill is Human Shield. Human Shield means he's going to be defending, meaning he's not going to basic it, he's not really going to ever rush, he's mainly just going to sit there and defend non-stop. So, knowing this, what should we do? Well, I'll tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to put a critical damage set on him. We're not going to put an attack set on him, because, like I said just then, he's just going to be defending. So, what are you going to do? You're going to want to keep him alive. You're going to want him to survive. You're going to want HP or defense. He is a very defensive heavy character. It's fairly simple, right? Now, obviously, how would you mod Uncle Sam? Now, it's completely up to you how you mod them. There's many ways of doing it, but what you do need to do is have a HP or defensive set. That goes with weapons as well. HP or defense would be ideal. Having an attack or crit related weapon on him is completely useless, because, like I said just then, he defends non-stop. So, what I'd advise is top slot, defense or HP. Fairly simple. You know, he's the wall. No one is getting past him. You know, he is going to take in all the hits. Now, your top right would be defense versus, because he is a defense tune. You don't want attack versus yellow. You don't want attack versus green, because he's not going to be attacking. He's going to be defending. And what's he going to be targeted by a lot? Yellows. Yellows. Yellows, yellow, yellows. He's a blue. Blues are extremely weak to yellow. Trait damage is a thing. Defense versus yellow, more than likely, is going to be the play to go. So, with that being said, what should you put in the middle slot? Now, it's completely up to you. Do you want to make him immune to resistances? If so, you'd put another resist mod there. If you want to make him a bit more beefy, you'd put a defense or a HP mod there. It's completely up to you what you think is going to be best for him. Do you want him to be more resilient to effects, or do you want him to take more hits in? Completely up to you, and you choose that yourself. Now, bottom right. Bottom right, like I said, what is his purpose? Is to sit there and soak up all the hits. He's a human shield. They've got to get past him first before they can hit the rest of the team. So what's the attacking team going to do? More than likely, they're either going to try and kill him, but they're not going to do it very easily. Or the easier option would be to control him. So what are they going to use to control him? Let's say Mirabelle. Mirabelle could confuse him turn 1. So you maybe want to put confuse resist on him. Or maybe you think Connor's going to be a big impact. If so, you'd put, obviously, taunt resist on there. Now, your bottom left slot is going to be a bit of an interesting one. It's like I said, it's like what are the attackers going to bring in to use on him. So if you think they're going to disarm him, maybe have attack up versus disarm. Or maybe if you think, okay, I've modded it against taunt, but I haven't modded it against confused. So let's put defense while confused. Or maybe you think, he's going to get a lot of basic hits thrown at him. Maybe I want to put reflect on there. It's all about what you think's going to be most used on him, and then you mod accordingly against that. Now, obviously we're going to go over a few more tunes just to make it a bit more, use it as a bit more of an example. So next one, it's going to be Robo Michonne. Like I said before, her weapon is nutty as fuck. It's attack, AP, then she's got revive, and then she's got rampage. So obviously her weapon influences attack. Now her rush, what does it say? Deal 4 attacks of 250% damage, 1000% total to one enemy. Obviously she's got rampage as well. So you're not going to have a defense set on her. You're not going to have a HP set on her. She is completely damage related. So either a damage set or a critical damage set would be ideal. So examples of how to mod her, depending on what set you want. Attack in your top slot is needed. She is a Guardian too, but like I said before, if you've got team players surrounding her, it's not really needed to have a crit mod. So in your top right, you'd have attack versus, depending on what you're struggling against at the against the most, maybe yellows, greens, blues, whatever. And then your middle slot, you'd probably have another attack versus, just to make her an absolute glass cannon, because her main thing is attacking. She is a killer. Then your bottom right, whatever you think she's going to be most affected by. Do you think she's going to get impaired a lot? And that will make her suffer from, well, she won't be able to rush. So maybe you would put impair resistance on there. Maybe you think she's going to hit into a stun gun. Put stun resist on there. It's completely up to you. But what you should put on the bottom left is critical damage, because obviously she's an attacker. And increasing the attack damage, yeah, fairly fucking simple. Now, here's going to be 2 examples of tunes that you should pay close attention to the fine print. So, Razzo. Razzo is an interesting one. Deal 20% of this character's defense in bleed damage to one enemy for 3 turns. Up to 2 enemies get stunned for 2 turns. Now, he is Outlast. Something to make note of. So, what do you think you should mod him for? Well, there's no damage on him. There's no percent damage, and there's no flat damage. So, he is damage over time. Deal 20% of this character's defense in bleed. So, his main thing on the rush is his bleed. He also stuns, but that's always going to happen. However, what will go up and down depending on how you mod is that bleed damage. Now, it's said based off of his defense. So you'd have a defensive weapon on him, you'd have a defensive set or a HP set. It doesn't really matter, you want him to stay alive. But what you do, if you were to choose a HP set, you would have a defensive mod on there. But if you wanted to double down and make it a defense set with a defense mod, his bleed is going to be a lot higher than what it would be if it was a HP set. So doubling down on the defense is definitely the right way of doing it if you want that bleed damage to be as high as possible. And obviously he doesn't do any attack. You want him to stay alive as long as you can, just so he can rush as many times as possible. Yeah, so fairly simple. Defense is the fine print in that. You should have looked at that and thought, defense is probably the way I should go about this, because, like I said, it impacts the bleed damage. Now, Governor as well. There's things you should be looking at in the kit, and some people just look at the wrong fucking thing. So, deal 60% of this character's missing HP in Maim damage to 2 enemies. He is outlasted yet again, so when he dies, 60% of his missing HP will be in Maim. So, in case you haven't caught on, haven't faced Maim, maybe. Maim is irreversible damage. Once that Maim has hit, you can't heal it back. You cannot heal it back at all. Good counter to lots of fast healing teams, but how should you mod against them? Well, it's fairly simple. It's in the fine print. Missing HP. So what are you gonna do? HP set. Congratulations, you've passed modding 101. So yeah, HP is definitely the way to go. Now there is a little fine print at the bottom, but here's my counter argument for this. Those enemies get 25% of this character's attack in bleed damage for 2 turns. Here's my thing. Maim is irreversible. Bleed takes time. And 60% of that fucking maim, you can't heal back. However, that bleed, they can recover fairly fucking easily. But that maim, they definitely will not. So you'd have a HP weapon. Maybe you want to put a bit of defense on that weapon as well. Maybe if you're feeling extra spicy and you want to be a bit of a rebel, you put HP and HP and attack on that weapon, so you get the most out of his adrenaline rush. However, I didn't really see that bleed as a impacting factor, because obviously his main thing is a defensive tune. Like, he doesn't really affect, like, he does no damage over time on his rush. No, sorry, he doesn't do damage percentage on his rush, meaning an attack set on him is fucking useless. He is a defensive character, he's there to stay alive, and when he does die, he will hit 60% of that maim damage to 2 people, and if you have that maim stacked extremely high, he's going to do so much fucking damage to the attacking team. So, with that being said, how would you mod? Obviously, personally, I would go HP set with a HP mod just to get that HP as high as I can, because I know even when he does die, he's more than likely going to cripple or kill 2 of the attacking tunes, which is ideally what I want. Now, I would obviously want him to defend against blues just so he stays alive as long as possible, to maybe get a rush off for 2. And then the middle slot, I'm thinking, do I want him to be controlled? He's Outlast. Outlast is very interesting, if you will. Outlast can be stopped, and if Outlast is stopped, his rush won't happen. So I would normally go 2 resistances just to make sure that rush does go off. So I'm thinking, what do I think is going to be most used against him? Do I think he's going to be stunned? Maybe. Do I think he's going to be impaired? Maybe. I'm just thinking what is mostly going to be used on him, and I would put 2 resistances to the 2 things I think that would be most impactful against him and stopping him from doing his rush. And then what I would put in the bottom left is either a defense while disarmed, or maybe a reflect in there, just because I want him to either stay alive as long as possible or kick back at the enemy when they attack him, making him not as a primary target when you see him on defense. But with that being said, I hope this video has taught you something. So just to go over it one more time, don't always make it a set just because it will make a complete set if it doesn't benefit the character at all. For example, I'll use the Morgan reference again. I've seen someone with an attack set because they had attack and HP on there, but they just made the rest of the set attack because they couldn't complete. They didn't have HP or defense on a HP or defense set, so they just made a complete attack set. It's fucking useless. He doesn't do any attack on his rush. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't do any percent damage. Yeah, he's a completely defensive character. So to make it a complete set of an attack is stupid. You should have made a broken set of HP or defense. As long as it's got 3 of the same modding, so attack, HP, or whatever, it'll be that set, and you'll get that set bonus. Also, read the fine print of the character, see what they're benefiting from, what they're not benefiting from, and what is that character going to be mainly used for. For example, Uncle Sam, he's a human shield. He's not going to attack. He's just going to sit there and soak up all the damage all day long. So having a rampage gun on him, having an attack set on him is completely useless. Now, I hope this video has helped you. There is a Discord competition going on in my Discord for 2 Discord Nitros. If you want to participate, just join the Discord, read the competition channel, and then you can have the chance to win a Discord Nitro. Also, like, comment, subscribe. Leave any video ideas you have in the description below. Also, some stupid modding mistakes you've seen people do, and do you think people are modding well enough nowadays, or do you still think they still need continuous help with more videos like these? So, yep, like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.